Ladies and gentlemen, you've tuned in to Ebro in the Morning. We have a special guest this morning. Give it up for Trey Songz.
Yay!
Trigger.
He has already tried to flirt with Laura Styles because he likes Spanish women.
He did not. He was just
real
last
quick.
Time we was talking about a relationship problem.
Oh
so
my God! Let's not start this again.
No,
That's right. It's
still a
gotten no
problem.
better, Trey. It's gotten no better.
Really?
No progress.
I don't want guys.
I'm sorry we jumped back. I just was defending myself. I wasn't.
Damn it, Trey.
As soon as I've hung
She
out with
look
Trey
nice, though.
Songz to know. See, I've hung out with Trey Songz to know when he's about to go in. The new release here. This is
Yes.
Reloaded. Explain to us what this is.
Trigger Reloaded, man. It's, like a retake on the Trigger experience.
That's right.
With some new records on it. Slow Motion, of course, being the lead-off single record called About You. I just put out 3 other new records with new videos, all that, man.
You have one with Ty Dolla $ign too, right?
Yeah,
Loving You.
Yeah, it's actually 2 records with him on the album, but this Loving You is the newest one we did. I actually did a record for Ty's album just recently too. But outside of Ty, I ain't lean on nobody other than that. But like if you listen to Slow Motion, you listen to the way like it's much more flirtatious, much more summer vibe. So it just brings like a summer vibe to the album that was already previously released, and a retake on it.
He's just cashing back in, let's be honest about it. He's just going back, getting all of the obsessed Trey Songz fans to all cop the album yet again. But you made it look like a full different experience. You didn't go with like the generic.
What I did, because the original album just has this a little smaller. So it's just new artwork on the cover. Like I said, we went in and did a whole bunch of new videos, new songs, new production. And in the process of making this album, I didn't stop making music, like, because I worked on it for 2 years. And then after we went and start performing the songs, I started getting excited about it and going back in the studio. And then I end up with an overflow of music. That's why most recently I put out the mixtape Anticipation Intermission 1 and 2. Just because I have that overflow of music and I feel like it's for this time right now. Like I could easily slide them over to another album, get out my deal faster, all that, But the music that I'm putting on is with the experience of the music that I've already created, because I made it in that mindset. So when I make albums, I want to kind of separate that feeling. I don't want to get into the monotonous vibe, but just be like, I gotta put an album out because it's this time. I gotta put an album. I want it to feel real, and I want it to be a real experience.
But you also it sounds like and it appears that you make a conscious effort to stay at the forefront. Like you're not waiting too long to give content. Like and also even the touring, right? Like I've watched you over the years go from maybe doing a tour a year to constantly touring, not just in America, but even in Africa and Europe and Australia. Like it doesn't stop for you.
What was a blessing though when Kevin Lyles came into my career, like he taught me a lot of different things, and one focus that he pushed to the forefront of my mind was to be an international touring act, versus being just the act that's domestically here getting money, go and get this bag, popping because we got this record, go do 30 clubs for the money under the table, and then you can't do nothing in the arena, you can't do nothing in theaters
because you got to tell. It's hard to sell tickets. It's easy to go to a club. It's hard to sell tickets
because the club already got the night that they popping. They associate you with that. They already gonna make a certain amount of money. You're not really bringing them people in. They already in-house customers. So when you have a valid touring brand, what I've been able to establish. I remember the first tour I went on, really mega tour with Jay-Z in 2010, and that was like a super learning experience. That year alone was the year that I went on tour with Jay-Z. I had my own headlining tour. I went on tour with Usher. So in touring experience right then, I got so much and understood so much of seeing the world and what it means to go all the way to Africa and perform, to go all the way South Africa, East, all over Europe. So it's just been a blessing, man, to actually be able to stay in the forefront and to have people to have a demand in supply that's like this right now.
Do you go get? Is it way harder to get Trey Songz now to come get a bag of cash and do a club appearance?
Yeah.
You made it something like I can't do that much, because we talk about this all the time behind the scenes, that a lot of artists out there are suffering with their concert dates because they're still collecting too many bags from clubs.
I mean, I think that's the difference between taking the now over what could possibly be the later. You know what I mean? Because when you get in the game, they talking about, you're a new artist. They trying to give you 20,000, 30,000 just to stop by the club.
You like, let me get that real quick.
That sounds
what?
sweet.
To do what?
For 30 minutes? What?
Right, but then you don't realize you don't have that same hot record, or you don't have that same adrenaline, and you done spent most of that money up. You don't have no concrete value up under you. So it's been a blessing, man, and I'm just very excited and happy to be where I am in my career. And you know, when you actually eliminate the bag, you can actually go and have fun sometimes. Like I go to the club because I want to.
I was just gonna bring that up. Don't make a mistake and think that he's not in the club. He's in the club. Bottles popping, girls around, like it's happening. And matter of fact, Trey is so comfortable in the club now that he doesn't just, you know how some artists, they go to the club and they stay at their little section. Nah, Trey, he's gonna walk through the club. He's gonna go around,
Do a loop.
He's gonna go by
dope.
the DJ booth.
Yeah, I'm gonna holler at
he's gonna
everybody.
stop by your table, take a
know I'm
photo
in
with
there.
you.
Yeah, all that.
Might as well.
It's good. I like
That's
Trey.
tight because not a lot of artists do that. They just stand in a little corner and be
Nah,
like, "Oh,
Trey
he's
wanna
here.
touch,
Where?"
Trey want to touch the people and he want to touch the people. You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, he wants to touch him. Touch and loving.
Look at him. Look at him.
He's touching them. He's loving them.
Yo, can we get on this new Ty Dolla
nope.
sign off here?
Yeah, we could do that.
What'd you say now?
He said I was touching him in love. I said, wait, nope.
Let's go. The new Reloaded release is out right now. Trey Songz, Trigger Reloaded. This is out right now.
Yeah, shout out to that boy Dollar Sign.
All right, here
Dollar
we go.
sign.
It's Ebro in the Morning with Trey
You
Songz.
sound like him.
Thank you. I work on that.
Up in the club and you left your man home. You couldn't even wait till we got to the bedroom. I know it ain't good, but these girls gon' do what they want. I just left the show with a 2-piece. Dollar sign got groupies. I'ma take her to the motherfucking hotel. Let her do her, then do me. Oh, one bad like skin and the engine. I'ma stack 'em up like Legos. She call me Poppy, ain't none of them Spanish. But I let them troop behind me huevos. We be f***ing all the time, but she know I never wipe her. Nah. Had her in a feeling when she see me with my white girl. She asks where around it, but when she like girls. It's the pretty girls that you really need to keep your eye on. Oh, you know you're dead wrong. Up in the club and you left your man home. You couldn't even wait till
You just tuned in and listening to Ebro in the Morning. That's Laura Styles, Rosenberg. Trey Songz is here. We're talking about Foreign Remix. Justin Bieber's also on this new release, Trigger Reloaded. What else is on? What's on here that wasn't on the album before? How many records?
You got
4, right?
5 actually. You got Loving You. You got what do we got? About You is the first record on there. We got Serve It Up. We got Slow Motion. And What's Best For You is actually back on there as well. What's Best For You, a lot of people don't know, was actually a record that spent a lot of time on the top of the Urban AC charts.
It was big.
Which was you know, a purpose for me in this album to touch a lot of different formats, you know.
And also really hone in on your bass, right? Like the women who love that R&B Trey Songz.
Like to be able to, and what's so trippy about a record like What's Best For You being #1 on AC, like probably 8 years ago, it would have been a regular #1 record, you know what I mean?
Right.
So with that mindset and think like this the first album I've had more rhythmic #1s than urban, you know what I mean?
What's up with that, by the way, though? Because we've had this conversation a few times with R&B artists. Like, there's just a lot of, you actually are lucky kind of and do pretty well in urban radio, as opposed to, like, there are artists, really talented, amazing people who should be at the forefront, like Jasmine Sullivan.
Right.
They can't get off of urban AC. Like, all they live with, and for that, people don't know, is sort of like older black radio as opposed to hip hop stations.
Right.
And what's the deal with that, with the separation of R&B?
Well, I think hip hop has such a strong presence in R&B and music in general right now. If you think about everything from like this to pop, you know what I mean? It still has a hip, whether it be the drums, whether it be a rap feature, whether it be the content. So when you have that going on, you just gotta have some different type of energy on you to cut through what's happening with that before they skew you older or whatever.
Well, also too, and I've been a part of the conversation with Trey Songz. The amount of time. How many albums is this for you?
This is 7.
7 albums. Yeah. So there's a point in an artist's life when they're young that the older audience, the older R&B audience, doesn't necessarily allow them in because they just sound too young for urban AC, like the adult stations, if you will. Right. But someone like Trey Songz has now fans who are 40, 45 years old, because he has so much time in, where Jasmine Sullivan's on her 2nd album, right? So it's harder for her to make the transitions that Trey does because she's so new in the game. right? So I think that's some of it too.
And the climate, if you think, it's really crazy though. The music, you know. So when you got somebody singing their heart out and singing their soul out, really that it should cut through, you know, the club records or the quote unquote what's on radio all day. But it's just you know, we was talking about the people meters. We talk, you know, it's a tricky game, and in order to be successful in it, you gotta really find what works for you and super serve your core outside of looking for radio hits and number ones and all that. Before I even knew what that was, what that conversation was, I knew who my fan base was, and I knew who liked my music. You know, now trying to diversify and broaden the brand and figure out how to get those people who don't know who you are is where you kind of gotta compromise a little bit of what it is you want to do all the way with your heart and your music and what you want to do to be successful. Like I had those moments where I had to kind of switch it up just because that was what I needed to do for my career. But even still within that, I've always, you know, remained who I am musically, even while evolving. And, you know, there is a what's best for you on this album, but there is a all we do is drink and sleep. You know what I mean? Like there is a slow motion on this album, but then there's, you know,
Touch and
I'll
Love
be
It.
on some late nights.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right,
Touch and Love It. So it's just showing the diversity while still having a union and still having it be a cohesive project is always something that I've been like a fan of, and always something I wanted to make sure that was cohesive within my brand too.
Trigger Reloaded, it's on sale right now. Listen, we could spend all day playing Trey Songz music. This guy has
Let's
hits.
do it.
I think he supports that.
That's a
I
good
want-
He's
idea.
into it.
I want to ask, how was young Christopher on tour? Did our guy Chris keep his nose clean? No drama. Everything was easy.
The tour was great, man. You know, a lot of things happened on that tour. Like he actually found out about the baby on tour.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like some canceled dates and all that. You know,
And also, he got some pushback from some countries not able
Right,
to
like
travel
it-
to Canada and things like that,
yeah,
right?
But even throughout all that, like it was very successful. The amount of money we grossed, amount of money we net, everything was great. And you know, he's my friend outside of everything else. So to be able to do that with him in this day and age, when you don't see a lot of artists working together, you know, me and Chris been doing this 10 years, and it basically been, you know,
Chris
trying
and
to come-
Trey,
yeah,
Chris and Trey,
put
Chris
us
and Trey.
against each other.
Yeah.
So to bring that together for that moment, and it also leaves the doors open for us to have the opportunity because it was successful, and there's no problem between he and I. You know, when you have you remember back when, you know, Jay and Kels went on tour and like you thought that was gonna be,
Yes,
Fell
remember that?
apart. It fell apart.
you know,
was
it's
a
always
mess.
the opportunity for something like that to happen when you put individuals that you know, got their own thing going on and you bring them together, and then they have to work together. So the fact that we made it out, we still friends, you know, everybody still got their money straight, everybody cool. I think the opportunities for that to make more music, to tour again, all that's possible.
Let's get into- go ahead,
hold on,
Ross
do you
Down.
give Chris Brown like advice? Because, you know, okay, me and Deani were like trying to find stuff. I'm like, what's going on with Trey Songz, right? There's nothing. He's so well behaved on
There's
social
no drama.
media.
No drama to find.
He's clean. I saw
Look
some
at E.
video of like a reach of like the Shade Room putting up a video. You saw that?
Right.
Of saying that he shut down some fan, but he was just totally joking.
Right.
But okay, number one, because I see Chris Brown always commenting on those crazy like baller alert in the Shade Room, which I'm guilty because I'm on it too. But do you ever tell him like, yo, stop being so emotional, stop
I mean,
commenting on
I think
stuff?
friends always give friends advice, but as a man and speaking to another man, there's only so much you could tell him before you feel like you crossing. You know, I talk to Chris, and when I talk to him, it's more so about his personal well-being and what he doing on the internet. You know, that's his choice. That's the way he deal with a lot of his issues. Obviously, you know, he speak out on them, but you know, as a man and as his friend, I talk to him about, you know, what's up with him, like not what everybody else knows is up with him. Like, what's up? You good?
Right.
You good? You know, and as long as he say he good, and we have a good conversation about that, I don't really go into the depths of what he dealing with for the world to see. You know.
Yeah.
I do think Chris is doing well, though. In my personal observation, I think he seems like he's getting to a pretty good place.
Well, it's been a good year.
Yeah.
I would probably say Chris doesn't give a fuck what you think.
Really?
I would definitely say that.
Are you sure? Will you ask him though? Because you know, we just be like, hey, Rosenberg thinks you're doing well. How do you feel about this? Because I think he'll hit you back and be like, really? I'm so glad. All right, just think about it. Maybe later on if you want
Top
to.
97, Ebro In The Morning, Laura Styles, Rosenberg, and Trey Songz, who has learned to
Yep.
stay off the internet.
Yes.
try to.
I don't know how he does it,
I try to.
because he definitely has. People think he's settled down, and he has in
calmed
some
down.
ways.
I
In
calmed
some
down a
ways.
lot.
Are you still dating that girl with the short hair?
Yeah, I mean, we trying to figure it out.
She's cute.
Ain't she?
Yeah, you guys are a cute couple.
Ain't she?
We're
She is.
trying to figure it out
What
is
does
one of
that
the
mean?
best lines I've heard today.
I mean, we are like,
Trying to figure out which part.
we trying to figure
If
out
you're
it all.
together or
no,
not?
it's just, no, it's just difficult. You know, for me and her, her stepping into my world, and anytime we take a picture, like if you're trying to develop a friendship or develop a relationship, and you have so many people trying to break it apart or determine what it is before you even really know what it is, it kind of gets tricky. So you know, a woman's emotional, and you know, my days are busy, and I'm working very
Men
hard.
are emotional too.
I'm just saying, but in what I have to set aside from what she has to deal with when we take a pictures, it's different. When we take a pictures on the internet, when we do anything, when you know she want to profess her love
Have you
for
had
me or
the
other.
Have you had the conversation about like, look, here's the real shit, right? This is me and you. This is the real shit. Here's the bullshit.
Right. No, it's easy to have a conversation, but when that actuality hits you, that
Yeah.
you know, people want to tear apart what you care about. You know, it's
Can
kinda,
she deal with it?
It's kind of hard it's hard to ask anybody to deal with, and I've never you know, put anybody on that platform publicly because I've seen what it do to people that actually love one another. You know, and I'm not blaming the internet on anything because
It's just being public.
Yeah.
Anything in the
Right.
public, even
Right.
if it's not wasn't the internet. There was relationships that got tore down before the internet.
right.
That was just public.
So my play and my take on relationships and like her and I right now, we great friends. We not an item. We not a couple. Because we trying to figure stuff out. Because you know, I feel like in anybody relationship, not just a celebrity or a public figure, I feel like before you go, you know, giving your love for the world to see, you got to know what it is for yourself first. And everybody's so attention seeking, and everybody want to be, you know, and as a woman, you definitely want to be shown love and affection, and you want people to know that the man you care about cares about you as well. So it gets tricky, man.
Are you at that point in your life where you're like, listen, I'm looking for the person who I'm going to have children with and attempt to build a family with?
I mean, to say I'm looking is a
Or
little
just more
off.
open to the
Yeah,
idea?
yeah,
The
yeah.
door's open.
The
No,
door,
it
like-
is. I mean, because a lot of my career was based on me being who I am, me being single, sexy, fun, invented sex, bottoms up, say I,
bagging
like, you know,
everything,
like that's-
sampling the world,
that-
what the
I mean,
world
that's-
has to offer.
That's who I've been.
Talk about it.
That's who I've been. You know, so
We live through you, Trey.
I mean, it's
Sorry.
a great life.
It's a great life to live.
Sorry.
We live a great life. If I live, and you
Yo,
live
it's
through
been
me,
fun.
it's-
We've had a hell of a run, Trey.
We doing it big.
We've been out there fucking everything. I've been
Boy,
killing it.
You've
boy.
been going crazy.
I've been listen. A few times on tour, I thought we were gonna lose it, man. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I'm happy I don't have anything.
That's
I came
what I'm
back.
saying to you.
I'm happy that we're good. It was that crazy out there.
Yeah, it's funny. But you are open.
No,
you
I'm
thinking about it.
definitely open to it. I love the idea. Like, if anybody knows anything about me, I love my family more than anything. I
right.
want a family of my own. But what comes before me making a family of my own, a lot of people don't understand is that I take care of my whole family. So if anything get in the way of this, whether it be love, whether it be hate, whether it be anything, it's in the way. If I can't
And when you
situate-
talk about taking care of your family, you're talking about your work and the brand of Trey Songz and the music and the touring and all of that.
All of that.
Nothing can get in the way of that.
Nothing,
And but is even mom, because you know you and your mother are very close, so I'm
Yeah.
sure she's
No,
on
my
one
mama-
shoulder
my
tapping
mama-
you like,
my little brother didn't had a baby before me. She told me that would happen a long time ago. You know.
oh, so she got a grandkid, so
Right.
she's kind of.
I mean, she's still on one from me though. It's she to the point where I had a couple phonies. You know, I had to
Yeah.
go drop a little DNA off, a little. You know what I'm saying? People I ain't even know though. But
you had to make sure.
You know,
You had to
but
make
you
sure.
got to do it. Like I got crazy false accusations, but she going with me. She like, you know, if it is,
Then it's beautiful.
you
It's
know,
not.
We just gotta accept the blessing. But mama, I don't know who this person is.
Oh,
But
that's
it
different
could
than
be. It could be beautiful.
It could be a blessing, Tremaine. I'm just saying, if you don't want to tell me that this actually happened, no, I don't know her. We coming down here because you want me to come down here, get it out the way. But if it happens to be a child, we gonna be happy. No, you gonna be happy.
So, Trey, there's a lot going on in the world socially in America right now. You being
Yeah.
from the South.
Yeah.
South Carolina last week. You come from a state that I believe the Confederate flag does not fly over state buildings like in Virginia. However, Confederate flags.
Yeah, you can't. You're allowed to have them in your,
Yeah, they're
in your
everywhere.
yard or whatever.
Can you? And I've tried to articulate what that flag means for Black people, and that some Black people have been raised to just deal with it, even
Right.
though we don't like it. we just know it's a part of freedom of speech in America, right? People can put up whatever flag they want.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know it's still indicative of racism. You know, a seed that's been planted, and people use the excuse that, you know, it's America. You know, like you said, freedom of speech, whatever. Right. But you know, being in Virginia, being from Virginia, I've dealt with, you know, racism at an early age. You know, people thinking I'm stealing just because I walk in the store. You know, like put the camera on you, all that. You know, on my street, you know, I've dealt with racism. I live, it's houses acres away from one another, but you know, I've dealt with that. So, it's something I think we all as a people, you know, from one point or another have come face to face with, but more so in the South, of course. And it's just proof we got to grow, man. I don't know the answers to how we make that happen, but the first step is for the people that be, the powers that be, to acknowledge that it is here, that it is happening, that we as a people have to love one another in a different kind of way these days. Like it's so, like when that happened in Charleston, man, like I really didn't know what to say or how to all the way feel. You know what I mean? You want to tell people to pray, but people got murdered in the church. You know, it's the house of God. And you still want people to pray. You want to empower them to pray because, you know, prayer is supposed to get you through any and everything from the beginning of time. That's the strongest force, because if you praying and you don't believe, then it don't matter. You know, but just for my people that's dealing with whatever prejudice or whatever hate that other people have, you just gotta have a love that's beyond that to even understand, because you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna know what makes a person go and, you know, take lives of people who praying to God. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna understand that in your mind if you don't have that within you. So we just gotta learn to love one another in a different way, man.
Yeah, it's one of those conversations, and we've been saying it since Thursday. I know on Thursday when we came to work, it was an atmosphere where it was kind of like a lot of people just want to be happy, right? We live in a country where everybody's like, nah, you know, we could come together and we just be happy. But sometimes you got to say, nah, man, let's stop and soak this in. Right. Let's feel this for a second.
Like this shouldn't just be like #1 trend, or this shouldn't be a headline on CNN for a couple hours, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but let's stop and feel what, like, think about this. There's people in the church of all ages praying. Someone walks in with the intent to kill them, sits down for an hour, says, they were so nice to me, I thought about not killing them, but I had to do it based on whatever social programming this young man had, right? Which was him saying that you rape our women and you're taking our country, so you gotta go, right? And you're looking at people who were brought to this country to work and make this country successful financially. Right. That's what the slave trade did. Yeah. And then now all of a sudden we don't belong or aren't entitled to, and then you still waving the flag that represents a faction that was pro-slavery. Right. Like when you think about that in 2015, that's still very real. And I think for some reason people don't want to grasp it, because
want to wipe it under the rug. Like
because we know that our country's greater than most. Right. So it's hard to, it's kind of like your child, right? When you know your child, you'll be like, yo, but you should hear moms all the time, not my baby. My baby wouldn't do nothing. That's my baby. Baby. And I think we see our country like that. Like we love it here. We cherish it. We're happy. We're proud. We're all these things, but we don't ever want to address. It's like a bad relationship too. A woman that's in an abusive relationship, but he loves, I know he loves me. He's punching you in the face though. Right. You got to deal with that. Yes.
And that's what was so powerful about, you know, when we were seeing the marches and they were coming up in this city, that city, this city, because and people call them riots at some point, and people get enraged when people start breaking and entering and all of this. But if you look at any change that this country has come by, for the betterment of our people, the betterment of people that you know, are not white individuals, it's been by being outraged. It's been by speaking about change, whether it was done you know, non-violently, whether it was done violently. It's been about speaking about it. It's been about, you know, wanting to change and not letting it be a passerby thing. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not. I guess I'm like less shocked. I was shocked, but I wasn't surprised by what happened. How about that? Right. Because when you talk about all the protests that's happened, and I really do, I agree with you. Like, I think it was really powerful what we've seen happen. Like, mostly peaceful and very effective protests to raise conversation in this country. But at the heart of the conversation is a conversation that people are uncomfortable with, particularly psychotic racists are going to be really uncomfortable with that. Right. And so it's not shocking to me that, you know, everyone wanted to protest and everyone wants to do those stuff. There are going to be some ugly things that come with that. You're starting to raise and rip Band-Aids off of, as you said, real wounds. Yeah. So the psychos and the racists and the people who are about to lose it, because I think we're closer to getting to the best place we've ever been than ever before in our history. Right. And before we ever get to that place,
we got to go through something.
There's going to be some nasty stuff that happens first as these Band-Aids get ripped off.
Hopefully it's just conversations. But, you know, I mean, we've seen a lot this year, man.
Yeah. But we've seen a lot that resembles, you know, so much of what came before us, before we even hear. So when you hear, like you said, it's 2015, and you seeing images that are identical to things that happened 60, 70 years ago, like, wow.
Well, like, people freak out, understandably, right? And they're super hurt. And I'm watching people on Twitter being like, no, fuck that. Fuck this country. Fuck everything. I'm like, guys, this is the worst shit ever. I can't even fathom it. But let's be clear. You can see the documentary, Four Little Girls. You could see what happened. Those little girls were killed at that church. And Dr. King, they had to go then the next day, go out and protest and do the same thing. This is not.
When I think that's some of the people's frustration is,
of course,
we're still doing this. Right. Like, we're still having a conversation, but the reason we're still having the conversation is because when we're making progress, we all get happy and hunky-dory and act like it's all good before we finish the work.
And the work's not finished.
Before the actual work is done. And I don't think we've ever finished. We, you know, integrated schools, we thought it was all good. Integrated neighborhoods, we thought it was all good. What is it? Affirmative action, you think is, you know, these steps were taken where people thought, okay, well, maybe now I can make some headway.
I mean, it's all about design, man. Like, you know, you mentioned slavery being what it was when they came here, the work trade to better the country. But it modernized slavery by, you know, Section 8 housing, the schools. You think about
prison industrial complex.
Prison industrial complex. You think about the liquor stores. You think about the way our communities are set up. You think about it is segregation by neighborhoods. You know,
quality of education based on tax bracket and where you live, so kids can get.
And the thing about it is people act like that's not real, and that's a real frustrating part as well, because that's just a modernized way to have people not develop. Like, as a country, I think we got to do better for the children, and that's where everything lies. Because if we have a country where, and I think, like I said, the powers that be fail to realize that if we don't educate our children, all of them, then this is our country. This is still going to be our country when you have half of your children uneducated, when you have half of your children that are destined to be imprisoned or murdered or to murder someone, you know, out of not necessity, but out of what they taught, what they have to. You say you're not supposed to be a product of your environment, but if that young man from across the water go to Harvard and he do this, that, and he's a product of his environment positively. So why is it not the truth that you can be a product of your environment negatively? Like, it's not people's choice to be living the way they living in our community.
And, you know, the whole, like, psychoanalytical evaluation of the guy who walked into church. Right. And then you want me to tell me about his broken home. Every gang member I know is from a broken home. Right. They're not walking into a church shooting people.
But the broken home is never an issue when it's never highlighted when it's a
black kid or a Spanish brown,
kid, or you know, it's never a broken home. It's always a derogatory thing.
A thug. It's a thug. Right.
But you got mental problems, and you this, that, and the other. When you go, you're not gonna bury none of that weight. We're not gonna make you carry none.
You was raised in the hood. You might have some mental problems.
Right. Exactly.
You hearing gunshots and sirens every single day.
You never get that star. You never get that pass, that right to say, you know, he's a thug, he's a gangster, he was this, he was that. What you want him to be?
I know, and it's funny because the result you're talking about when people talk about the worst crimes that generally happen in communities like that are generally people killing each other in like a one-on-one, generally speaking, kind of situation, because their problem-solving skills are all fucked up because of what they've been around. So considering what happens, it's not a shocking result based on what you've seen, versus these things where the result has nothing to do with anything. Like walking into a place and killing 9 people. There's no environment that in any way could justify that. I could justify why a drug dealer ends up killing another drug dealer. I could explain to you how that happens. But this is inexplicable. And I think as a result, then people want to just tag it and go like, mental health. And sure, of course, the guy was obviously crazy.
Right.
But you can't make that the whole thing.
No.
You cannot make that the entire conversation.
Okay, this was good talk, Trey. And you got
right.
and by the way, you can buy this man's music.
No, I think it's incredible that we able to, have those conversations as well. And to everybody that listening, it's something you could do. If it's on your heart, we got all these platforms for people to speak on. We got all these platforms for people to touch and affect other people's lives. If it's something on your heart and you got something to say, help yourself out and get it off your chest. Like this conversation is something that's good for your heart, good for your soul, for myself, just even speaking about it. So thank y'all for that. Thank y'all for promoting the album. Everybody listening right now, everybody been supporting me throughout my career. I appreciate y'all, man. Trigger Reloaded in stores.
And if there are any women out there who Trey has not made it to have sex with yet,
he's working on something.
He's gonna try to come by and bang you out before it's all said and done.
How's your wife, man?
Hey, she's not a fan. She's not a fan.
No, you know why he did that? You know why he did that? Because I used to say that about his mom. His mom is hot.
I didn't know that.
And his mom, I would be like, yo, how's your mom? He'd be like,
You ask me that like so much, bro.
Thanks a lot, Ebro.
Get Ebro the hella side out.